there, welcome back to Cooking with Flu. I'm again in this lovely little village in the West Coast, and today we are making a traditional South African dish, Springbok Pie. Hope you enjoy. Okay, so we are going to make some Springbok Pie. And what I have going here on my fire is a pot. To that I will be adding a big block of butter and a good glug of olive oil. Now this fire is quite hot, so this should melt quite quickly. If you're doing this on your stove top, use a nice big casserole, because this is where I have this beautiful leg of Springbok. Absolutely stunning, stunning meat. And what I want to do with it is saute it. I want to brown it on all sides. After that I'll be adding spices, I'll be adding red wine, I'll be adding some stock, and then it will cook down for the next 2.5 to 3 hours. Now this piece of Springbok is it weighs about 2.8 kg. So you can count on the similar amount of minutes, which is 2 hours and 80 minutes. So, you know, more or less 3 hours, 3.5 hours, just so that the meat all comes off the bone. What I am going to be adding to it is some bacon, because Springbok is extremely lean. So we want to render that fat from that bacon and just give it more full body flavor. Okay, so we've seared our Springbok leg or boat, and to that I've chopped up about 600 grams of bacon, which we will be adding. I've now also got one onion. Leave the root on so as to not start crying when you do this. So all of this goes into the pot now. Give that a little stir so that it can also start sauteing. This pot obviously retains a lot of heat. As you can see, this leg is slightly on the big side for the pot, but it's not an issue. Just the bone is slightly too long. I don't want to cut it in half, I want to cook it whole. We will be turning it within the liquid just now, so it's not an issue. What I'm going to be adding also, just for a nice meaty flavor, is some mushrooms. I'm just going to halve them. Using about 5 mushrooms, button mushrooms. You can use brown mushrooms, you can use portoballinis, but I'm just using your plain button mushrooms. Right, now in with the wine. So I'm using about half a bottle of wine here, and I'm going to use some beef stock. And this liquid is coming up about halfway. What I'm also going to be adding is a good 2 tablespoons of a good quality brandy or cognac. And then here are the spices. Some whole cloves, gives such a nice fragrant taste to it. Then I've got here some star anise. Okay, 3 of those. I've got some allspice berries. They go in. Bay leaves. Some cinnamon sticks. Some peppercorns. And some thyme. Some dried thyme, just straight in there. And then I've got here a handful of juniper berries. Absolutely stunning. Now that's not all. I just want to add a little bit of dried tarragon. It's completely optional. I love the flavor of that in here. And just some chopped up garlic, about 2 teaspoons. And then I just want to add a little bit more powdered cinnamon. So I've got the 2 cinnamon sticks in here. A little bit of powdered cinnamon, a little bit of ground coriander, so about a teaspoon, and half a teaspoon of ground ginger as well. So it seems like a whole lot of spices. I'm going to add more dried thyme, because that's only a small bunch. I'm going to add another teaspoon of that, and that's it. So we've got in there, just to recap, we've got quite a lot of earthy spices. So we've got juniper berries, allspice, cinnamon sticks and ground cinnamon. We've got some dried ginger in there, We've got some dried thyme in there, a little bit of ground coriander, and our peppercorns, of course, and then as an additional extra added French tarragon. We've also got our onion, a little bit of garlic, and mushrooms. So this now goes back onto the pot, and this is onto the fire, and this is going to be going for at least 3 hours until the meat falls off the bone. I'll be turning it every now and again, just to make sure that it cooks evenly, and I will be balancing the lid on halfway just so that it cooks a little bit quicker. Let's give that a bit of a stir for the spices and the herbs to go down. Lid on. So I'm just going to be adding a little bit more wood to the fire, and I will be checking on this pot in about 30 minutes again and see if I can turn. And I suggest turning the meat every half an hour for the next 3 hours. I'll get back to you now. Hi, so where we left off, and now we are starting again, is where we, half an hour into cooking, we added our vinegar, our cream and our mustard. And thereafter I let it go on fire for another 3 hours, and this is now the result. It's absolutely stunning. You can see it's actually falling off the bone. And what we've got left over in the pot is a beautiful sauce. Okay, so this is a stunningly cooked leg, and as you can see, it's really just falling off the bone. So I'm going to be shredding this in a minute. This over here is the leftover sauce with the cream, and if you have a look, all the bacon and the mushrooms and onions and the herbs, and they're all still in there. So I'm going to strain this, and then I'm going to thicken it up with a bit of cornstarch. So whilst I'm going to do that and have this beautiful cafe latte that my son made for me, thank you very much, I'll get back, and then we start rolling out our pastry and actually making our pies. See you in a bit. Okay, so we're ready for the puff pastry. You can make your own pastry, you can make your own puff pastry. I've just got a decent, good quality store-bought puff pastry over here, and I've got several different pie dish options. I have this one, which I'm going to fill with the Springbok pie and then put the pastry over the top, and I've got a few other options. I have these small little pie cases, which are fantastic if you want to send it to school with your kids, or if you want to take them to work. So I'm going to do a few of those, and these are just very nice to keep in your freezer, because as you can see, we've got a huge amount of Springbok here. It's not going to be finished in one day. So that's what I'm going to do. I've greased my pie dish, which we're going to use for tonight, and now we're just going to roll out the pastry. So if you are like me and you don't have a rolling pin at hand, use a wine bottle. That is the second best option over here. We don't need to roll it too much. It must just be enough to cover our pie dish. Of truth. Just look at that. Oh, stunning. Okay, so I've simply served this with some honey glazed carrots, some string beans, some sauteed cinnamon apples. Can't wait to actually start eating. If you enjoyed this video, you know which buttons to click. Until next time.